Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Fantasy Football Universe. I am Aaron St. Dennis. Follow me everywhere at FF Mad Scientist, joined by Jesse Moeller at JMoeller05 and Jeremy Shulman at FF_Rebel. We are going to dispense with the pleasantries today and get right into a Week 3 recap because this show always takes fucking forever because there's so many games. It's like SC's Saturday morning NCAA show where there's 900 games. Well, actually, what do we have? 13 to get through? Something like that, because there's still 14, because there's 2 tonight, right?
We got 2, yeah.
Tonight, yeah.
14 games. So let's get into it. We're going to go way back into Wayback Machine. Patriots and Jets 24-3 here. What's the place to start? Aaron Rodgers and him being a usable quarterback again, or what are your thoughts?
Yeah, he looks good, right? Looks like he can live, he can survive. He's not going to tank the season. Similar to Kirk Cousins we'll talk about. But yeah, like the offense looks good with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, Garrett Wilson still, we can talk about Garrett Wilson, the issues, like he's still not fully hitting yet, and it's bound to happen, but it's just been a rough go for him. So if you have him, just have patience. But yeah, Rodgers looks good, man. It's nice thing.
Yeah. And New England defense is still pretty decent, even though Rodgers carved him up. But we saw Tyler Conklin become alive. That Mike Williams is somehow relevant in games where Aaron Rodgers is facing really good defense or really average or subpar defenses. Some of those guys could explode even more.
What's up, Jamie? Thank you for joining us. I was kind of surprised by this one. I think I benched Rodgers in a couple of leagues just because I thought this was going to be a tough matchup. I know I've been saying for the last few weeks that I thought Rodgers would bounce back because San Fran and Tennessee are 2 of the better pass defenses. I also thought the Patriots were a half-decent pass defense. Rodgers pretty much tore them up here in this one. Anything else worth talking about? We think it was just Drake May just getting some garbage time touchdowns. We don't think there's an actual switch coming, do we?
There needs to be.
Not touchdown. I mean, garbage time, not touchdowns.
Yeah, no, they need to get Drake May on the field if they want any chance with this offense. Otherwise, it's going to be is what it is. I think the bigger takeaway is Braylon Allen, how good he looks, because he looked like I watched Wisconsin look completely different. He didn't look like this level of player. This looks like freshman Braylon Allen as opposed to junior year Braylon Allen. So they got a good backup running back as well too. So if Breece Hall goes down, you have a borderline like RB1 right behind him.
Yeah,
I think if
in Dynasty, by the way, I've offered like Najee. I've offered, guys more than that caliber, and no chance you get Braylon Allen at this point.
Yeah, I haven't been able to get Braylon. Yeah, I have no shares of Braylon Allen. Haven't been able to get him. I also, back to my Drake May point, I don't think they should be bringing him in here. I only really noticed this because I started the Jets defense in one of my home leagues, and they had like 3 sacks going into the final drive. Drake May came in and they finished with 7 sacks. So he's going to get himself killed if he's out there. So
just on that note, Sports Illustrated says that Drake May should start at some point this season, according to the team. We kind of expected that, but they're saying it could be sooner rather than later. I think it's more speculation than anything, but when do we say the Pats bye is? I think it's like 12, 13, 14, somewhere around there.
Yeah,
after the bye, we should be seeing May, if not sooner.
Yeah.
14. Hunter Henry, Ty Conklin on the streaming tight end radar. That's about it.
Hunter
Henry, woof.
Don't do that. Don't play that game.
Oh, goodness.
We warned you.
It's a dangerous game, man. It's a dangerous game.
We did warn you. All right, moving on to an even more exciting game. Giants 21, Cleveland 15. Is Deshaun Watson dead? He got outproduced by Daniel Jones, so that's not a great look.
Yeah, it's been 3 years of really bad quarterback play for him. I don't know at this point what we're doing. We kind of know it. Fantasy wise, he'll produce. He's fine fantasy wise, but actual NFL quarterback play, I think he's 30th in EPA. He's not good, and he holds the offense back. So if you have those offensive pieces, you have Cooper. Cooper's fine. He finally hit. But outside of that, it's him and Njoku. And then the running backs are just super up or down.
Yeah. The other thing, too, is with that offense, J.J. Zacharyson put out some stat about Deonta Foreman's usage over the last 3 weeks. It was 0, then 60+% in week 2. Week 3 was barely over 20% usage for him. What the hell are we doing? I don't know what they're doing over there. They have a good run blocking unit, and they're just they suck. They have nobody there. If Chubb comes back and he's healthy, I'll take a shot on him for cheap, pick him up off waivers or stash him early. But yeah, Deshaun Watson is a big problem here.
Yeah.
The running backs in this game really scare the shit out of me. Jerome Ford was the bell cow, but he hasn't been great. Devin Singletary put up a good stat line, but he worries the shit out of me. He fumbles more than any running back I've ever seen. And how long till they just decide to bench him? Because it seems like every
For
game
what?
he has a costly fumble.
I hear that, but who I hear that, but who are they giving the ball to? Like they have
Tracy.
Their situation may be worse than Dallas.
Tracy, Gray,
Carrying the football
not
between the tackles,
Singletary.
I don't know.
Well,
Yeah, they
I
like
don't know
in the
if
first half,
Singletary can.
he saw a ton of work. In the second half, post fumble, like he dominated all the touches and snaps. I thought maybe he would earn some more work after that fumble. Dayball was like, "Nah, we still like you." It's like he's liked him ever since Buffalo because they were together at Buffalo, so he's been connected to him since then. Seems like it's the long haul with Tracy. Like you have to wait a while.
All right, the wide receivers here. Cooper is still alive, and Malik Neighbors may be the best wide receiver in fantasy football. I posted a dynasty trade thread yesterday. Basically, CeeDee Lamb is firmly ahead of him. Justin Jefferson is about a 60-30 winner, and he's right about even with Jamar Chase. So it looks like he seems to be the wide receiver 3.5 in dynasty. Too high, too low?
I get it. Let's just stop with the Jefferson stuff. If you're taking over Jefferson, that's just stupid. Jefferson's not even old. Like, what are we doing here? But yeah, like he's top 5 dynasty wide receiver. It's really hard to argue against it, even with Daniel Jones. Like he's awesome.
Taking him over Harrison Jr. or
you can.
That's the close one for me.
You can if you want to. I get it. He's been incredible. Like I understand if people want to do it. Like that's the same tier for me. It's fine. I don't mind. But yeah, you're probably gonna need a plus on top of Harrison to get Neighbors at this point. Just how good he's been.
Yeah, you might. I don't mind it. Amari Cooper put up similar stats to Malik Neighbors. Finally, even with Deshaun Watson, both of these guys are, thriving. Although Amari has only done it for the first time, so he's going to have that inconsistency. And this is a bad defense in the Giants. So Amari is going to be up and down this year. That's not what we thought coming into the season, unfortunately.
Colts beat the Bears 21-16 despite looking awful. Somehow Caleb Williams actually has a decent performance. 363 yards and 2 touchdowns, also threw 2 interceptions. Not to be outdone, Anthony Richardson throws 2 interceptions himself. He looked fucking awful. JT was awesome. I don't really know what my thoughts are here. Richardson is really scaring me, but I think the matchups are going to get better. For me, the storyline here is Roschon appears to be slowly taking over this backfield. DeAndre Swift looks awful. What's your takeaway here? Maybe some Rome Odunze? What do you guys think from this one?
I was gonna make Rome Odunze a buy low, and then he went bananas yesterday. So that's not their rushing game's abysmal. You saw that 4th and 1 kind of like speed sweep that they did, where he had no shot. There's 5 guys in the backfield instantly. It's just the offensive line plus the issues with DeAndre Swift. It just means they're more than likely just gonna be very pass heavy down the stretch, which is good for the guys we want. But the running attack, man, I'm just gonna stay away from those guys because it's just gonna be up and down. Like, no, thank you.
Yeah, you can't start any Bears running backs ever. Indianapolis proved that. And then, you'll start the pass catchers, but when Keenan comes back, that's going to be a problem. We've been telling you all off season about DeAndre Swift. Do not buy the bump that these running backs get when they come from Philadelphia. We're seeing it in action here. But yeah, this is a 3-way timeshare. It sucks. Rome is great for now. But all these guys are going to be inconsistent.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, it looks like this offense can support 3 of them, and it's not the running backs. I guess it's more like 2. It was DJ Moore and Keenan Allen. Now it was DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, and Cole Kmet, but Cole Kmet had the 11 targets. I don't mind streaming them. I'm not really believing that this is going to be a weekly occurrence, especially if Keenan Allen comes back. What do you guys think? You buying Cole Kmet or?
As long as Keenan Allen's out. Fine. Yeah, I mean, on a week it'd sell for them, but sure, if you could trade him, yeah. Like they threw 52 times. Like that's not going to be a standard thing they're going to do, right? So all these guys got massive looks in this game because they ran 52 like total plays. So yeah, I'm fine with it. Coconuts fine. He'll work in the meantime as long as Keenan Allen's out.
And they ran it, they threw it that much because number one, the Colts front was just kind of basically rushing as many guys as they possibly could at Caleb Williams. I don't have it in front of me, but I'm wondering how many sacks he took. A lot is the answer. And then, or it was hurries maybe. But Anthony Richardson as well on the other end was just giving the ball away with stupid plays. Like stop throwing the ball into quadruple coverage. Anthony Richardson, maybe just go down. Just go down.
Caleb was sacked 4 times.
Yeah, Richardson.
By the Colts.
I know.
By the Colts.
Caleb showed flashes. Like Richardson just looked like a dumpster fire yesterday watching that game.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't just the decision making on top of it. I was like, dude, you're throwing it right to the Bears. Like it wasn't even like I was just like, oh my goodness, this is just So Steichen was like, dude, forget that, just go Jonathan Taylor. And it's like,
yeah. And they won. And they won the game.
Yeah.
So. Bears are garbage.
That's not good.
All right. Minnesota Vikings 34-7 over Houston, just like we all drew it up. Sam Darnold has saved the Vikings season. I don't know what to take away here. It all seems like fool's gold. Sam Darnold, he does this for a few games, then fades away. 4 touchdowns. Cam Akers got into the end zone. I've been desperation streaming him with Mixon out. It's not really a major takeaway. Oh, you know what is a major takeaway from here? I do not ever want to see Davis Mills on the field again. Not only, no. I don't even care about the lack of fantasy production he's providing for these receivers. He throws hospital ball after hospital ball to these guys. He's lucky he didn't get Nico or Tank Dell killed yesterday. Just god awful. Like he's throwing like fucking like little floaters just over the center or the middle of the field. He's going to get someone killed. That's my takeaway. What's your takeaway?
Leslie Frazier is the Shanahan boogeyman. Like, so the week before, they did this to San Francisco with Brock Purdy having turnovers. Like his defense is like very unique of what they do, and he does a lot of different things. So you need really good NFL quarterback play to diagnose it. I thought Stroud would do better than he did, honestly. Like them having that performance against Stroud's really impressive. So kudos to that defense, man. They've been awesome the last 2 weeks, causing massive issues with those guys. So yeah, like it's probably one of the better coaching staffs in the NFL the Vikings have. Like all around, like it's a really good coaching staff. It's put them in position to win. So congrats to them. Like that's my takeaway.
Yeah, I have to go on the other end of the ball. You mentioned Sam Darnold. It's not fool's gold, and it's not because of Sam Darnold. You mentioned San Francisco. This is the same situation that Brock Purdy finds himself in. Kevin O'Connell is elite. He's designing elite schemes, and they have an elite pass catcher, and then a couple of other really good pass catchers. And TJ Hawkinson isn't even back. They got 2 backs who can catch the ball out of the backfield. And Darnold leads the league in touchdown passes this year. He's leading the league MVP conversation at the moment, and he's not doing that much. He's doing just enough, and it looks really good, not only for fantasy, but in reality, 34-7, blowing out the Texans. It's wild here, but the Vikings are one of the best teams in the NFL in the early season.
Sam Darnold's QB2 on the season. If you needed to know how the season was going so far, it's Sam Darnold's QB2.
Start him everywhere, every week.
The funniest thing was he told CJ Stroud to keep his hat out at the end of the game. He like daps him up. He's like, "Don't worry, it'll get better." To CJ Stroud, I was just like,
Aaron Jones was fucking awesome. I think that's my final take. Jalen Naylor looks streamable. Philadelphia Eagles 15, New Orleans Saints 12. So much for Derek Carr. Him and Hurts both kind of sucked. Hurts has no receivers here. Derek Carr, the O-line was pretty banged up there, so they were getting to him all day. Just didn't have the time, didn't look very good. Saquon Barkley and Kamara were the focal point here. Olave, Smith were both good, but I don't know. What's the takeaway here besides the fact that I'm pretty sure Goddard reads my tweets and realized he was facing me in every league this week because he put up a career high in the week where he fucked me after me talking shit for 3 years. I still fucking hate you, Dallas Goddard, but fuck you, Goddard.
Your favorite player in the NFL. This is what happens when you have no Devonta Smith or no AJ Brown. Like Dallas Goddard's a good NFL tight end. He's just always been buried behind 2 really good wide receivers. He got his chance. It was him and Saquon. They literally carried that offense yesterday. Him and Saquon Barkley both had major plays. They did a lot. So yeah, if they're out, which AJ Brown might be for a long period of time, you can definitely play Dallas Goddard as top tight end. Similar to Cole Kmet in Chicago. These guys are viable when the injuries happen because you know what, they can do stuff for you.
Yep. I agree with that. On the other side, Rashid Shaheed disappeared in this one. do not worry a ton about Rashid Shaheed. He was always these down the field speedster wide receivers are always a little bit more boom bust than we expect. These weeks happen. Shaheed also dropped 2 balls, one of which was an easy touchdown. The second one could have been a touchdown. And Olave had his day, 6 for 86 and 1. So I'm not worried about Shaheed. He's still a little boom bust. He's still a great flex option for you on a weekly basis. This should have been a good game for him. Just didn't happen.
What I'm seeing, and I get it, it's limiting Hurts's upside with half his receiving core. What we're seeing happen has been the opposite of what's happened. Typically, it's been Jalen Hurts who's vulturing everything and making the Eagles running backs unplayable. Saquon Barkley is taking a lot away from Jalen Hurts. They paid him to use him, and they are using him. And it's like, it's just every time I think Hurts is going to get a run, nope, it's just Saquon again. Another Saquon touchdown, another Saquon. Yes, this is a problem. I don't think Jalen Hurts is going to be the QB1 in my rankings much longer. Having said that, I'm not sure who I would boost up. It's probably Allen.
Sam Darnold.
Whoa. Yeah, I mean, Saquon was 17 for 147 on the ground. Like, that's super efficient. So, yeah, it's similar to, I know we're talking about the offseason when we said, like, he's not CMC going to San Francisco. I might need to retract that shit because he looks just very much similar to what CMC did when he went to San Francisco. Like, he looks like that guy. So, yeah, generational running back. Shocker. He's good.
Yeah, Devonta Smith also awesome as long as AJ Brown is out, and he has a chance to play next week with the early reports. So just keep an eye on it and cross your fingers.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh 20, the Chargers 10. I think the biggest takeaway here is what happened, or we all projected this. Justin Fields was going to stop rushing the ball and then just start throwing the ball, but be usable for fantasy. But I was looking at it because he was in one of my waiver articles, and it's 245 yards passing, which he probably won't ever throw for again. It's 6 yards rushing, which he will never go that low again, but it's a rushing and a passing touchdown, and that's what saved him. That's the first thing I wrote in my waiver column. This is a nice looking stat line. I don't think he's ever going to sustain this production. He's not going to throw this much. He's not going to run this little, and he's not going to be saved every week. Like if you're picking up Fields, banking on him throwing for 245 yards, you're going to be in trouble because he was bailed out here by the 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, he's a mid-level QB2. Like he's in that range, right? Oh, I'll give a shout out to Arthur Smith because like he's there. He looks like a viable NFL starting quarterback with Arthur Smith, which is the opposite of what we saw last year in Chicago. Like it was flipped. So shout out to Fields, man. He looks like a capable starting quarterback. So good for him. The team looks good.
Yeah, I think Najee Harris, too, is what we wanted Gus Edwards to be, which Gus Edwards is not. He's just not getting the volume. He's absolutely cooked. Najee's getting the volume every single week 20, 17, and 18 attempts each week, just hasn't found the end zone. But this week he had 5 targets and 5 receptions. If that sort of volume keeps up for him, which is unlikely, but it's possible that Warren's phased out, injury, whatever. So I really like Najee going forward. All he has to do is fall into the end zone, and then he's up in that back end RB1 conversation weekly.
Yeah. I thought these 2 backfields were going to be 2 of the worst split committees. No, it turns out that Dobbins and Najee are just absolute workhorses, and everyone else is droppable. Just like we all drew it up. Dobbins coming off of 9 season-ending injuries, and Najee who sucks. Yep, it's Najee and Dobbins. Edwards and Warren are droppable. Actually, Cordero Patterson was the RB2, so Jalen Warren is beyond droppable.
One thing I want to mention about this game is Pat Freiermuth continues to get targets, 4, 4, and 5 targets. He's not anyone that I have any interest in. It's because of his quarterback. It's because of this offense. He's not scoring touchdowns and utilizing the red zone. His ADOT and the yard per target is low, 2 out of his 3 games. Don't pick up Pat Freiermuth. I know tight end is a dumpster fire right now. I do not want to play in the Steelers dumpster at tight end.
Yeah, I don't want any Steeler. Like Pickens has a boom or bust 3, but I don't want any besides Najee.
He ran the same amount of routes as Pickens. They both led the team in routes. So, like, it's there at least. It's somewhat viable. But, yeah, he's like a middle tight end, too. It's matchup, I guess, maybe.
Yeah.
Aside from the 2 running backs we mentioned, the only player I'd really like to start is my boy Quentin Johnston. Saved by a touchdown, 2 for 44, but he got there. Justin Herbert left and was injured. High ankle sprain, re-aggravated it. There's no chance he plays this week with a bye coming up. So I think Herbert's out a couple of weeks.
And it's not Stick, right? It's Heineke.
Yeah, you're not. Heineke. It's Dobbins and nobody else in this offense moving forward, and even that's going to be like super iffy. But the rookie Ladd saw 6 targets. He led the team in routes run. Like that's what we want to see. So keep an eye on Ladd moving forward. Like he might turn into something.
Not with Heineke at quarterback. I'm not.
That's what I'm saying. It might like on the road. Like wait a couple weeks. It's gonna be like follow the usage when Harburg's get back.
What a weird week. We've got Denver 26 and Tampa 7. Bo Nix, who suddenly looks like a competent dual threat quarterback. Go fucking figure. Baker Mayfield looks like, Baker Mayfield. And then the leading running back in this game, the leading 2 running backs were Bucky Irving and Tyler Batty. What the fuck is going on?
Yeah, you got to pick up Bucky. People need to pick up Bucky. Like, he's a serious thorn in Rachaad White's side, and he's been really good. So, like, definitely, if he's available on the waivers, pick him up because he is chipping into that role. But by the way, Cortland Sutton, the usage paid off. So if you were counting on Cortland Sutton, finally bounced back. Like he has good usage, so you can start him fantasy.
Yeah. With Bucky, Rachaad White was still on the field for something like 70% of the snaps, 74. His snap percentage did not change. It's just they gave him the ball less and, featured him a little more like they did in week 1 in the passing game. But yeah, Bucky's getting the stuff inside. He's a better inside runner. I just think this is probably a situation you're going to stay away from. Also, Mike Evans was completely shut down by the Denver secondary. That is not going to happen every week. And with Godwin getting his and Evans getting his, there's going to be a lot less for White in the passing game. So I'm probably passing on both these guys, but I agree it's Bucky if it's one of them.
Yeah, no, I'm not starting anyone against Patrick Surtain moving forward. I tell you that much.
He's shut down quarterback. He's legit, dude. He's really good.
Also, we had Tyler Batty, I said was the best on Denver. We should note that he had 9 carries for 70 yards. All 9 carries were in the fourth quarter. He was the only running back on Denver to touch the ball in the fourth quarter when they were up by 3 scores. So let's not necessarily buy into that.
The Jaleel had an awesome move for the 1-yard touchdown. Go back and watch that play. He is legit. The problem is, are they going to be able to block for him? Are they going to be able to scheme more outside runs? It's looking scary for the Denver running backs as well.
Yes, it is. Packers 30, Tennessee 14. Malik Willis gets his revenge game. Will Levis going to Will Levis. 2 more interceptions. If he could start throwing more touchdowns, he might be able to go Jameis Winston 30 for 30 this year. Although he's had 4 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. He's got to be on track for it, man. That's solid. This one was ugly. The 2 best running backs were Emmanuel Wilson and Tyjae Spears. D-Hop came in and was useful here. Ridley did not look good because I said to start Ridley this week because Ridley is right up there with fucking Dallas Goedert for me. The Packers kind of spread the ball all over. What's the takeaway here, guys? What are we thinking?
I can't talk right now. Ridley ran 31 routes, Hopkins 22, but he only got 3 targets. So I don't know if it was the matchup or what it was, but that was just a struggle. And similar to what we saw at Tampa Bay, when these teams get down a lot, like the offense. So with this Tennessee Titans offense, Tyjae Spears is going to play a lot more when they're trailing like in game modes like this, similar to Rachaad White with Tampa Bay. Like, so that's kind of how that one shook out. So I wouldn't be too worried about Tony Pollard. I think he'll be just fine.
Yeah. And Will Levis has lost all 3 games for these Titans. At some point, if they want to start winning games, they have to sit Will Levis because he will lose another game for them. When they have a real opportunity here in week 4 playing Miami, we know Tua is not there. They don't know what the hell they're doing at quarterback with Skylar down. I forget who even came in for them in Miami. Who was the
Tim Boyle? Tim Boyle.
Yeah. Snoop Huntley was recently signed as well, so it's possible he plays next week. It's going to be garbage that game coming up in week 4. But if they'll probably give Levis another shot. If Levis loses that game to that Miami team, there's no way he comes out of the bye as a starter. He can't. That's just negligence.
Problem is
They're bringing back
Rudolph.
Ryan Tannehill, aren't they? Because the backup
It's
is
not
Mason
better,
Rudolph.
but it's
Mason
different.
Rudolph
It's not better.
sucks. Like,
Yeah, but it's different. He doesn't suck this bad.
oh yeah, yeah. I don't know about
Let's see
that.
it. But let's find out. Let's find
Let's
out.
not. I don't want to do the Mason Rudolph thing. Trust me, I don't want to do it again.
Ryan
Brian Callahan
Tannehill.
needs to find out. Sure.
You could do it.
Great.
You could do
Anyone.
it.
Literally anyone else.
Anything
Malik
else to
Willis
take
would be a
away
good
here?
option for this team.
Malik
Situation
Willis was half
matters, right?
decent. Of course, he'll never play again because it'll be Jordan Love this week. But anything else in this one that struck you?
Yeah, maintaining the difference in situation will do for a quarterback, right? He plays in Green Bay. He looks like he's starting out for quarterback. Tennessee, he looked abysmal. Shocker.
Yeah. Kevin O'Connell, we talked about already. This is Matt LaFleur and his offense, and they're awesome. So bet on elite coaches with elite play calling.
Think Tennessee throws a second round pick out there for Bryce Young?
That would be
Good
funny.
Lord.
That would be funny.
Then you just have 2 Will Levises on your team.
Hey, like he's the first draft pick. It's good. Let's go with it. Yeah. Yeah. Just draft the quarterback next year, Tennessee. Even though the quarterback's
in the first and the second, save your second rounder. Draft a quarterback in the first and the second round.
Oh god, yeah, quarterbacks look rough next year too. It's gonna be fun.
Carolina 32, Las Vegas 22. I think the thing here is Jeremy, I believe, has a eulogy prepared for Zamir White. Is that correct?
I think that was you. But
Was it me? Okay, that was me.
We were burying him before the game started, and a few people that I'd listened to in the fantasy community were hyping him up. He's got to produce this game. Guess what? It was somehow Alexander Craptastic Madison who came in and was the much better receiver. This team is not good in the Raiders. I don't know how they beat the Ravens last week. But the bigger story that Jesse's got to talk about is Andy Dalton and our guy, Deontay Johnson, crushing.
Yeah, so they were 32nd in QBR or in EPA. Sorry. Andy Dalton steps in. They go to 4th in the NFL in EPA. Andy Dalton was slinging the rock, and I was like, yeah, maybe it's not Bryce Young's fault. It doesn't look that bad. You watch out Andy Dalton play, and you go, yeah, that was a lot of Bryce Young there. So that's a eulogy for Bryce Young if I've ever seen one right there. So, yeah, like, Deontay looks good, man. He's going to be viable, and you saw it. Set a career high in receiving yards. A career high in receiving yards. Let's go, Deontay.
Thielen's down, right? Thielen's down now.
Yeah.
This is, again, Dave Canales. You're betting on an elite play caller and elite coaching here. Doesn't matter. Andy Dalton is just the joystick, just like Brock Purdy, just like Sam Darnold.
Did they consider maybe telling Bryce Young he should target his number 1 receiver? Because it worked out well. Dalton had targeted Deontay 14 times, and they blew the doors off of the Raiders. I mean, it was different competition, but he had more targets this week than he had the first 2 weeks combined. Like, I get it. New Orleans looked awesome, but the Chargers suck. I don't get what the hell they're like. Bryce, throw the fucking ball to your number 1 receiver. Who was he targeting? I'm trying to look for first 2 games. Was he just not throwing?
He can't see them.
This is true.
He's spreading it around. I'll say that. Deontay was doing,
Get a step stool or whatever Kyler does.
Get the leg extension.
Kyler runs around like an absolute freak monster athlete and finds spaces between the offensive line and the defense. Bryce Young is not Kyler in that way.
No, but I seen an awesome theory on Twitter last night explaining why Marvin Harrison Jr. was better. He's better on the routes where he runs deeper in the game because the one game where he was bad, he was running really short routes. And the theory was Kyler couldn't see him on the short routes because he can't see over the offensive line. And I thought that was absolutely hilarious.
That's so good. Yeah. By the way, Chuba Hubbard looks like a freaking very valuable running back that he has a role in this offense. So if you have Chuba Hubbard, like you could start him, fire him up.
Yeah. Jonathan Brooks, if there are no IR spots in your league and he's hanging around with the shallow benches, hanging around the wire, stash him on your shallow bench.
Do you see the funny stat here is that the Raiders lost, but had 3 usable receivers. Trey Tucker had 7 for 96 and a touchdown. Jacoby had 7 for 61 and a touchdown. Devontae Adams still put up 11 points with 4 for 40. So I always like Trey Tucker. I get it. He's the one-trick pony speed guy, but there's no usable running backs here. I guess they're just going to throw it to the Receivers, I get it. Bowers left with an injury at some point, so he only put up 3 for 41.
What's Pierce's first name, head coach? I can't
Antonio.
think of it.
Antonio, yeah.
Antonio Pierce in his press conference said that some guys gave up and made a business decision. There's the speculation that he was talking about Devontae Adams.
Did you see the defensive play? The guy like just YOLO'd it. He basically did the Olay on a tackle. One of the defenders was like a safety, or his corner safety. And the running back comes in, he kind of just doesn't even tackle and lets him go into other guys. And I'm like, oh yeah, you're not gonna play. Like you can't do that in the game.
Yeah. So Pierce said we're going to be making business decisions this week. So already threatening this team.
I love it.
Send him to Rogers, baby. Let's go.
I know we're not on that. We already passed that game, but I heard something similar with AD Mitchell, and that's why he barely played with Downs back. I heard he's not necessarily been the best effort player so far. Seattle 24, Miami 3. Skylar Thompson, Tim Boyle didn't work out. Geno Smith was all right. Charbonnet was awesome, so you're firing him up as probably a top 5 or 10 while Walker's out. The question for me is Scott Fishbowl. So Kyler's my 1. He's going to play. Am I at the point where I can start putting in Geno Smith over Anthony Richardson, or do I have to give Richardson some more time?
No, you have to.
Geno's been better.
Geno's been really good. Like I have him as my QB3 in Scott Fishbowl. I'm contemplating starting him. We'll see how it goes. He's good. To answer this question though, really quick. Yes. Like you're going up against a duo, so you just need Moss to kind of match Cook. I think you could do it. It's going to be close though. It's going to be very close.
Yeah,
that's a close.
Yeah, and Jacksonville, we don't know what sort of defense they are. They've been really good against the rush. They did allow Achane to go off in week 1 in the passing game, so that's the concern with Cook, that he could just absolutely go off in the passing game and lose people weeks here or win them weeks. That's the concern, though. But, if Josh Allen's, it probably won't matter anyway. I still play Moss.
Yeah.
Do we have to? While Tua's out, do you have to consider benching pretty much any? Like I get Tyreek Hill's going to be in your lineup, Achane, but are they no longer must start? Are there, you have to start considering pivoting?
SC said you should have been playing Geno the entire time.
Geno, we love Geno here. We love. He did not have a great game either. But
that's a lot tougher, SC. That's a lot tougher. They got Josh Allen. You better hope BTJ goes off because Josh Allen is bringing that dude. He's gonna put up some points. So
I don't know. Buffalo has been really good in the secondary and on defense as a whole.
Yeah, you need a touchdown.
It's tough task.
I would be terrified, honestly. Yeah, but back to Miami. Like you just knock everybody down. Kind of what we did. Like we knocked Tyreek out of the top 12. Waddle, we're like, I don't want to play Waddle and Achane, and I don't think you really played anyone else. Jonnu Smith didn't hit last week, so yeah, it's gonna be rough playing all those guys. You just have to knock them down.
But can we also talk about DK Metcalf showing up? He had that one long play, so I know that kind of made his day. But he's capable of that every single week. I would have liked to see JSN get some more, but Lockett seems like he's going to eat into JSN. They're going to cannibalize each other, and one of them is probably viable each week. You just don't know which one. But who is viable each week? DK Metcalf. He's going off.
Yeah, JSN led the team in routes run last week. You would not know that from the box score, but he led the team in routes run somehow. I was like, come on, man. That's a roller coaster ride with him every week.
Next, we have Lions 20, Cardinals 13. This wasn't the high-scoring shootout we thought. Turns out the Lions have 2 top 12 running backs. David Montgomery is 8th. Gibbs is 12th. Connor was not great this week. We had Trey McBride leave at some point with an injury. St. Brown was awesome. Harrison Jr. was awesome. What's your big takeaway here?
Yeah, like exactly what you said, right? Like those 2 running backs, they're going to be ranked highly, and we'll do it each and every week because it's one of the better offenses in the NFL. Jared Goff, he's going to be a guy that's going to support those guys and check it down, let them eat. So, like, that's super valuable. Like you called it with Jones and Connor, you were significantly lower this upcoming week because of the matchup, and he didn't know. So, shout out to you. I was like, I'm still playing him. Regret playing him. It is what it is. But yeah, Harrison did his thing.
17 yards. I said under 50, not 17. That's brutal.
I was shocked he didn't get a target. Like that was more of the weird thing to me. Like usually he will get like upwards of 5 targets in a game. He got 0.
He got 1. He had 1 for 8. 1 for 8.
Yeah, like, I was just like, I don't know what happened. That part was the more confusing thing. I thought he'd get there with a little bit of both. Did not happen at all.
These running backs going off are real, and Dan Campbell said earlier in the week that he wanted to get Monty going, gave him 23 carries, Gibbs get his 16, but that's severely limiting the passing game. We saw Amon-Ra, he's a weekly start. JMO disappeared in this one. Laporta was invisible again for the third straight week, really, at least the second straight week. So it's really tough sledding out here for all these other passing game options. You still got to play JMO, but if they continue to ride these backs, it could spell trouble for those guys in fantasy.
The Lions can't stop rushing quarterbacks, so it looks like all they did was give the carries from Connor. They gave them all to Kyler, who had 45 rushing yards. So
yeah,
that's what they did. So what's SC got up here? Lockett worth a buy, sell. I'm not buying in Dynasty.
No.
I might hold.
It's so up and down with him, man. It's someone as JS said. It's the secondary options of the passing deck. TK Metcalf, everybody else.
Yep. I'm not selling Monty. I want to hold Monty.
I
made the mistake of listening to someone to tell me to bench Monty yesterday, and it cost me the week.
If you are not contending, you have to sell Monty, right? But if you are contending, you ride his ass.
Yeah, it depends what you can get, like with all these guys, right? It's all market-based value. So if you can get a good deal for him, sure. You flip for a young, promising wide receiver, go for it. But in redraft,
it's week 3. It's week 3. If you've decided in week 3 that your team's so bad you're not a contender, what you're going to get for Monty isn't enough to turn it around. You should quit.
Yeah, you should. I mean, like, people should have an idea of where their teams are at by this point.
Oh, yeah.
You should have an idea.
But one of the leagues we're in earlier, I seen someone's having a fire sale already. I'm like, it's fucking week 3. How are you a seller right now?
Listen.
Sometimes you read
it happens.
Got a few of those.
Got a few of those.
You're like, you know what? Yeah, we're just going to put 2025. That's how it goes sometimes.
Shootout of the week. Ravens 28, Cowboys 25. Dak with an insane amount of garbage time production here. Derrick Henry was awesome again. This is like a 5-way backfield in Dallas. CeeDee Lamb was awful. Rashad Bateman was the number 1. I don't know here. Mark Andrews, 1 target, no catches. Ferguson was great. Where do you even begin on this one?
Dude, so I have a fun stat for you. They ran the ball, if I can find it, 44 times for 271 yards. That's over 6 yards a clip. They did not need to pass in this game. They absolutely just
that's like a college game.
Yeah, it was absurd. Henry got his, Lamar got his. It's just like, I think they had 15 pass steps in the game. That tells you all you need to know about the passing attack options. Now it's interesting with Andrews, the struggles for him. He like severely was injured because he did like 20 snaps or something. It's just abysmal.
Yeah,
but this is going to be like this all year. Everyone's been saying in the games where the Ravens are favored, it's going to be heavy run game. So start Derrick Henry. When they're underdogs or a close one, it's more of a pass game. So you can play Flowers or Andrews. At least they make it known, it's easy to decide who to sit and start. But I think if I remember correctly, the Ravens have a pretty decent schedule coming up. So I think it's going to be a lot more Henry and a lot less passing for the next couple weeks.
Yeah, but you got to start Henry every week, even against these good fronts. I know the line isn't good, but they're using Andrews as a blocker, right? So that helps them a little bit, helps them stretch it out. And we know that their wide receivers are blockers as well. That's kind of how they design their offense. On the other side of the ball, I mean, Turpin caught a touchdown. Tolbert caught a touchdown. I mean, it's just stupid. CeeDee Lamb had a down week. That's fine. But weekly, I just don't know what the hell's going on in this passing game. It's CD. Hopefully Ferguson sustains this. I'm not buying in, but I'm not with the state of tight end. I'm playing him. But outside of that, it's CD, Ferguson, and nobody else for me.
Yeah.
CD's wide receiver 17 on the season. That's horrifying.
It's been bad. That offense. They have issues, man. Like they have serious issues with that offense. It's not going well.
It just goes to show you though, but like I said, that dynasty trade thread, the only one that was unanimous, it was like 37 votes, all for CeeDee Lamb. And so far through 3 weeks, Neighbors has absolutely crushed him. But people are so locked in that nobody even once considered. Maybe the guy's a little younger. I get it. I wouldn't do it either. But it's just amazing that we're so locked in on Lamb that nobody considered it.
I would be like, what's the best plus you're going to give me for Neighbors? Because I would take it. Like that's what I would do with Lamb. Because like your point, he was the one guy. Like to me, it's Justin Jefferson, everyone else, and Justin Jefferson is proving that once again. And then like Lamb, like it's been a struggle, man. Like it's been just rough.
Jefferson was like 75%, I think, or 72 or something.
Good.
Well, and here's the thing too about Lamb is like last year, we said it at last year at the back end of the season, the Cowboys had one of the easiest schedules in recent memory. This year they have a pretty average, if not difficult schedule here and there. CeeDee Lamb will have his weeks, but he's not going to be the wide receiver one. He's going to be very good. He is a wide receiver one quite clearly. But yeah, if you can trade him for Neighbors and get like, I don't know, Zay Flowers level production on top,
Yeah.
probably do that.
It's basically a wet
Ankle sprain for Sam Laporta. But further to your point, I'm looking at the schedule upcoming for like the next 10 weeks for Dak. Even the games where they play crappy teams, they're crappy teams who aren't bad against the pass. So it could be kind of rough.
Yeah, it's
That one,
Well done,
I think I hit Marv here, but Neighbors, I think I had them as the same tier. It was dealer's choice. Second
Very
last
close.
one here, we'll go Rams 27, 49ers 24. Brock Purdy has a great day. Jordan Mason was probably his worst game. It was still 77 yards. Kyron was awesome. Juwan Jennings, 11 catches, 12 targets, 175 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Everyone is going to add him off of the waiver wire this week so he can promptly put up nothing next week because that's how it's going to work.
Yeah, if Kittle's out again, it'll be a good situation because it'll be like doing the route sends Ayuk. It'll be him and Ayuk, but like you're missing a lot of guys in that offense, so it's a short window for him. But yeah, you could write him out.
Yeah,
Ew, this one's gross.
Pittman.
I think I stick Etienne and Pittman. Tyreek has no quarterback and Mixon's hurt.
Pittman's worse than
Tyreek and Mixon.
And I want Mixon over Etienne.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd take that side. Even though Mixon's dealing with injury, like I'll also take.
Well, what's the second one? Connor and Waddle for No, you're trading Etienne and Pittman.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
The Waddle stuff is brutal. Like you're gonna have a hard time with Waddle in redraft too. But yeah, like
great.
I think you're winning the trades, yes.
But now you're gonna have Tyreek and Waddle. Yeah. Why?
No, yeah, like that's why I said you should trade away Waddle if you're gonna do it. But yeah, it's gonna be brutal. The Tyreek's the playoff push. That's what you want.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Niners Rams. What was your takeaway?
Shout out to the Rams. Somehow they won this game, dude. Kyron Williams looked incredible behind just an abysmal offensive line. Didn't even matter. It was him and Stafford just like willing the team to get there. So I was really impressed with what the Rams were able to do. They came back, found a way to hold them, and came back and won the game. So shout out to the Rams, man. That was really good. It saved their season. They would have been 0-3 if they lost that game. So that legit saved their season.
Yeah. Kyron was my biggest miss of the week. I thought San Francisco was going to be able to limit him. He was the only guy. He was Mr. Necessary over there. Meanwhile, Juwan Jennings, do not chase him. Someone is going to pay up for him on the waiver wire. Make sure it's not you. He's probably going to be fine. But if Debo and Kittle come back in the next week or two, even next week, if one of those guys come back, it's not looking good for Jennings. And I want Ayuk over Jennings, even as early as next week.
Yo, yeah. Ayuk for sure. Like the routes and everything were still good. It's just it's a Jennings game. Like sometimes that's how it goes with the passing attacks. Man. It'll be Ayuk.
Should he do Etienne and Waddle for Tyreek and Mixon instead?
I'd rather have Waddle than Pittman. I don't want Pittman, dude. I don't want Pittman either. Yeah, so I would. Yeah.
All right, last game on the agenda. KC sneaks one out 22-17 against the Falcons. Patrick Mahomes was all right. What do we got here? Bijan was not too bad. Drake London had his best game of the season. How did he explained this on the show on FFT, how the defense KC was employing, and it was a do not cover Drake London. They just let him run fucking wild the whole game. It's like they decided we're just not going to cover him at all. So I'm not sure that's indicative here for London because I don't think he's going to run wide open. Rashee Rice is the guy here in this KC lineup. So Rashee Rice, I think, is a top 10 or 12 for me in Dynasty right now.
Yeah, he's going to be a first-round pick. Like I saw Jacob Sanderson say, he's going to be a first-round pick the next 5 years. Like that's what Rashee Rice is doing. I think he's on pace for over 100 receptions, 1,500 yards, like double-digit touchdowns. Like it's Amon-Ra St. Brown with the Chiefs. That's basically what it is. Like it's absurd.
Yes.
So
you know what's going to happen though, right? We're going to have whispers next offseason that he's going to be charged or something and could face a couple game suspension, and he's going to fall back to the 6th round again where we can turn a profit. Because that's how this happens every fucking year.
On that.
He's in the 9th round this year.
I got multiple shares for dirt cheap this offseason, and I am thrilled with how that has panned out. I'll tell you what.
Crazy. The biggest issue with Rashee Rice is it limits Travis Kelce's production. He predominantly operates in the same area of the field most of the time on his routes, and he's always open, and Patrick Mahomes is always looking at him. Mahomes came out and said that Kelce is getting triple teamed. Maybe that's the case. But teams are going to have to start doubling Rashee, at least trying to slow him down. Once they do that, we'll see if Kelce gets open. But it's not looking good for him. I'm okay to sell now, but you can't sell him now because nobody's buying.
Yeah, that's why I had him as a sell now, like before this game because of the injury and stuff. Also, the same thing with Kyle Pitts, man. Like he's just not getting first read looks. It's abysmal. The thing is, he's still a top 12 tight end because the position is so bad. But if you could get anything of decent for Kyle Pitts, just get out of Kyle Pitts, dude. I don't want to do the tight end situation with Kyle Pitts. It's not happening. Get it. Just go. Just send him away.
By the way, we love Drake London, so hopefully you have him on your team. Darnell Mooney is good. He's been good. He had Justin Fields, who wasn't capable of supporting two pass catchers over there, and had DJ Moore last year. Darnell Mooney is in a situation now where Kirk Cousins is able to support two pass catchers, and he looks like the clear two the last couple of weeks. Raymond McLeod is involved, but not as much as Mooney. And if it's not Pitts, it's going to be Mooney. So yeah. I'm
Mooney,
picking him up.
2021 put up 1,000 yards, 80 receptions. Like he's been good.
I would say Moss on this one.
Yeah, for safer Moss because you know the touches he's going to get. Then Higgins, it's a smash matchup, but like this is the issue we have with Higgins the whole week, right? Like we don't know how good he's going to be or how valuable he's going to be to come off injury. Yeah, like I'd go Moss.
And to close it out,
wait, hang on. Back on Mooney really quickly. Absolutely cooked Trey. I don't know, McDuffie, whatever the Trent, thank you. Trent McDuffie on a couple of routes last night. We saw him years ago cooking Jalen Ramsey. Darnell Mooney is good at football. Like that's the guy that I'm spending up for on waivers this week, not Juwan Jennings.
Oh yeah,
let's close it with a Todd Bowles quote. Bucky Irving has earned more snaps and will be splitting work with Rachaad White moving forward, per head coach Todd Bowles. R.I.P. Rachaad White. Tune in next week for his obituary.
His obituary.
We got him a plot right next to Zamir White.
Oh, this is brutal.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you all.
Sweet princes.
Check back tomorrow at noon. We're going to be doing some waiver wire stuff to run out and grab Bucky Irving and your 95% of your fab budget on Juwan Jennings. I didn't see that one. Stashing Irving since week 1. Yeah. Me too.
Good work,
I could. All right. Take care, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow for the waiver show.